Content of the video. In this video, I'll show you how you configure shopware in order to be ready for development. So turn on the error reporting, turn off the caches, because you don't really want things to be cached a lot during development, because you want your changes to take effect immediately. So yeah, what you see on the left is the shopware root directory. And you may have or you may not have some of the folders and files which are part of that, because I'm using the GitHub version 5.3.0, by the way. So if you use the installer package or some other way to get shopware set up, you may lack some of these folders, which is not a big problem. So I'm gonna open the config.php file, which is the main config file for shopware. And by default, you only have the database configuration set up here, because this will always be a specific part. All the other configurations that there are set in a default configuration file, which you can find under engine shopware configs. And there you will find the file default.php. And in here you find all the different possibilities and all the different configurations that can be set, like the setup of certain CDN adapters, or the CSRF protection, snippet handling. You can set up a Elasticsearch server in order to serve your search. You can set certain front-end configurations, template configurations, like forcing the templates to be compiled every time you open the web page. Also the cache configuration, some error reportings and PHP settings. So you see, it's simply a lot of stuff that you can configure, and you can simply choose some of these entries and put them into your config.php in order to have them overwritten by the values that you set in the config.php. Just make sure to maintain the same structure as is defined in this array, because in the end there's going to be some recursive replacement of the values you haven't set in your config.php. So you want to make sure that you have the same hierarchical structure in your config.php array. Since I installed the shopware plugin for PHP Storm, there is a live template that I can use, which does some pre-configurations for me. Live templates are shortcuts you can simply type in, and as you hit enter, it simply fills in some text for you. So the shortcut is called swconfig, and if I confirm by hitting enter, I get this pre-configuration, which is, well, let's say optimized for developers. So my cursor gets placed at the force compile option, which I'm going to set to true, because we're going to do some template related stuff later on. So we always want the templates or the pages to be recompiled as soon as you reload the page. Apart from that, we have the Elasticsearch configuration, which is obviously disabled by default, so we don't have to worry about this. We could also just take this out, just like the uncommented stuff down here. We have set the throw exceptions to true, and we have set the show exception to true in order to get all the exceptions that can be thrown during the shopware process to get up to the front end for us to take notice of the exceptions, and some basic snippet setup. And we turn off the CSRF protection for development, because it makes things easier. And yeah, this is the general setup which we are going to start with. I just want to show you one other way of setting up a configuration for shopware before we dive into the code.